Hello everyone. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nanda Noor Citrawati and my student number is 1812141156. In this video, I would like to give you a video presentation about degree of comparison. So, are you curious what is a degree of comparison? Alright, without any further ado, let's get started. So, do you familiar with degree of comparison? If you are still confused, I would like to tell you further information about it. So, degree of comparison is usually used to compare one noun or one object with another object. And when we want to compare two objects, we usually use an adjective, and we generally use adjective of quality that has changed its form to compare one object with another. And therefore we can call this definition as the degree of comparison of an adjective. So move on to the next explanation. So here I would like to tell you about the types of degree of comparison of an adjective, and there are three types here. The first one is the positive degree, the second one is the comparative degree, and the third one is superlative degree. So I conclude that positive degree has ordinary level of the comparison, and in comparative here, we say that has the comparative has the higher level, and the superlative has the highest level of the comparison. So let's move on to the first explanation, and it is about the positive degree, and it is used to describe one object, person, or place without making any differences, or it is used to compare two objects that have the same degree or quality. So there are two functions of positive degree here. The first one, we only describe one object with comparing with other object, and the second one, we compare two objects that has the same quality. So let's see the example. The first example, I have a sentence: Johnny is driving a blah 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 car, and we to describe the color of this car, we can say red as an adjective that describe a car. And the second example is she has a blah 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 house, and the adjective is big, because we can see that this house has a big size. So let's move on to the next explanation. Okay, after the previous example, I would like to tell you that there's another pattern of the suppositive degree to compare two objects that have the same quality, and the pattern is noun as an adjective plus to be plus s plus adjective plus s plus noun as an object. And the example is Siska is blah 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 as Ina. This is Siska and this is Ina, and we can say that Siska is as tall as Ina. In bahasa, we can say that Siska memiliki tinggi yang sama dengan Siska sama tingginya dengan Ina. And the second example is there are two pencils here, and the red pencil is as blah 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 as the black pencil, and I would like to put a word long to describe those pencil. So pensil merah itu sama panjangnya dengan pensil hitam. So is it understood? Okay, so let's move on to the next explanation, and it is about the comparative degree. So it refers to a greater degree of an adjective that is used to compare one object with another object. And let's take a look at the example directly. So there are two apples here, and the first description is this apple is big, and the next one is bigger, and the next example is cheaper. And the next one is cheaper. And the third example is odd. And the comparative one is older. So we can conclude that we need to add er to indicate the comparative adjective if an adjective has one or two syllables. So the word big, cheap, and odd has only one syllable. So there's other example here. So okay, so let's see. And we need to add then after the comparative adjective in a sentence. So this is the first example, and let's say that Lolita is younger than Vita. This is Vita. Lolita lebih muda daripada Vita. It is in bahasa. And the second example is there are two giraffes here, and I would like to take the example of the left giraffe. And so we say that the left giraffe is taller than the right giraffe. So I would like to show you another example of comparative adjective. So there's a sentence here: Jenny is blah 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 Ellie, and this sentence there's a blank in the sentence. So this is Jenny and this is Ellie, and to describe Jenny, I would like to put more beautiful. So Jenny is more beautiful than Ellie. Why I put more beautiful to describe Jenny? It is because we need to put more before an adjective if an adjective consists of more than two syllables. So we can say that Jenny is beautifuler than Ellie because er is only for one or two syllables of comparative adjective. So we need to say more beautiful. Alright, next move on to the next explanation, and it is about superlative degree, and it refers to the greatest degree of an adjective that is used to compare one object with many objects. So in comparative, one object is only compared with another object, but in the superlative we can compare with many objects. So let's see the example. There are three people here, and for this first one, I would like to say that he is an old man. He is an old male. And old in this context refers to positive degree, and the second picture is older to indicate the comparative degree. And what should we say for the third picture? So we can say oldest to indicate the superlative degree. So we add est to indicate the superlative adjective if an adjective has one or two syllables. So once again, we should add est to indicate if an adjective has one or two syllables. Next to the other example, and let's identify Lily in her family. And this is Lily, and we know that this cute girl has a short height, and there's a sentence here: Lily is blah 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 person in her family. We can put the shortest. Lily is the shortest person in her family. Or in bahasa we say Lily adalah orang yang paling pendek di keluarganya. And I have a question for you: who is the tallest in the family? So I want to point Lily's father. So we can say Lily's father is the tallest in his family. So for superlative adjective, we can conclude that it also has a pattern, and the pattern is noun as subject plus verb plus the plus superlative adjective and plus noun as an object. Alright, let's move on. So the next slideshow, we can see three vehicles here, and I would like you to compare the price of a car with other vehicles. So the sentence is, the car is blah 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 vehicle among other vehicles, and we can say that the car is the most expensive vehicle among other vehicles. Jadi mobil ini adalah yang paling mahal dari yang lainnya. So we conclude that we should add most in before the adjective if an adjective is more than two syllables. So we cannot say expensivest, so we should put most before the adjective. So let's move on. Okay, so in the next part, I would like to tell you about the rules that is used to form comparative and superlative adjective. So the first rule is, when the positive word ends in e, we add r and st in an adjective. So r in this slideshow is used to indicate comparative adjective, and st for superlative adjective. So here's the example. So the first picture, I describe it as large apple, and the second one is larger for comparative adjective, and largest for the superlative one. And other example is strange, stranger, and strangest. The next one is close, closer, and closest. So these words ends in e, so we should add r and st for the adjective. And the next one is, when the positive ends in y, we remove y and add ier for comparative and iest for the superlative. And the example is, the first picture is tiny, and the second one is teenier, and the third one is teeniest. And for the example is, the dwarf in the right side is the teeniest of all. Okay, let's move on to the next explanation. So the third rule, when the positive is one syllable that ends in single vowel plus consonant, the final consonant should be doubled, and we add er and est. So this is the example, like fat, there is a single vowel of a and a consonant in a letter t, and in comparative, letter t should be doubled, and we add er, and the next one is the fattest, so we add est to indicate the superlative adjective. So for the example, like Pushy is fatter than the black cat. Okay, so the fourth explanation is about irregular comparison of adjective, and I have provided you the picture, and if you want to take a picture or take a screenshot, and so please do. And for the example, like there's a grandmother here, and the sentence is, my grandmother had a cough. Now her condition is getting worse than before. So I put worse in this sentence to indicate that her mother condition is lebih buruk daripada sebelumnya. Okay, so another example is, the punky band showed the best performance yesterday. So the best here refers to yang terbaik, telah memberikan pertunjukan yang terbaik kemarin. So in adjective, there are some adjective that should be there are some adjectives that have different form of comparative and superlative, and here are the examples. So after this explanation, I think this is the end of my presentation, and I also provide you the sources for supporting my presentation, and this is the material, and the template that I took is from slidesco.com, and there are some pictures that I took from the internet. So This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for watching. And if you have a question, please write it down on the comment below. So, see you next time and have a nice day.